Good afternoon. Joining me now, we've got Shawn Ryan with us. Shawn, you're a famous guy. You've done
I'm
a lot.
Prospector.
Shawn was instrumental in causing a gold rush in the Yukon.
Yep.
Back in
2010 and 11.
Yeah, 2010, 11.
Yeah.
Very similar to the Yukon gold rush 100 years before that.
That was the time, if there's a spot that got the world excited, after me coming out of the bush and talking about the methods how we discover gold in the Yukon.
Yeah.
And how relatively easy it was. It was just a deeper soil. It wasn't super high technology.
Yeah. But you're not a scientific guy. Like, you're not a formally educated guy.
No.
You're a prospector, basically.
Yeah, and a researcher.
And you grew up in the
Timmins camp.
Yeah. So you know this area. Like,
Well, I know what the big companies need. Like, as a business, if you're a business, if you look at it as a business, you know what the majors got to see, and they have to see certain criteria. Like, you could work for the juniors, and some guys are like, fly-by-nighters, but the majors actually they want to see a very strict regimen of how you look for gold.
Yeah.
And they don't want any BS. So you have to do it scientifically.
I've been looking at the price of gold since about 1980.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
1980, that's almost 40 years.
Yeah.
And I remember, gold was in the tank in the 80s and the 90s after that big move in the late 70s. Yeah. And then, your timing was perfect because gold, prior to 2000, I think it hit around 200, 250.
Yeah.
It was sitting there. Nobody gave a shit about
That's
gold.
Right, yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. You come along, you're doing all this stuff, and then gold goes ballistic after the financial crisis of 2008.
Yeah.
And peaked in 2011.
Yeah.
And here we are. Now, it's backed off, but not, it hasn't really backed off that much. I mean, it's 12, 1300.
As someone said, like, now we're still 1,700 Canadian. So we're still in the money.
Finding gold in Canada is not a bad place to find gold.
No, that's exactly. So that's why we can't get.
So tell me about LAB.
Yeah.
You're taking what you learned.
What I came up with is doing our magic in the Yukon. It was a great spot. Then I realized some of my higher level customers, like the majors, would like to see new districts found. The majors are my customers. They're like, that's the guys who are my end customer.
Yeah.
And so I'll deal with juniors in between. So I'll find a nice company, or a good company that I like their management. I'll usually buy a position into the company, then my projects in, and then basically work with these guys. And so now I don't want to be the president. Like, I tried that once, that didn't work.
Right.
My job is to be the guy on the ground, the boots to the ground, the technical guy. I like the guy to solve problems in the ground. So because everybody does it one way, but sometimes there's better ways. So my job is, as a researcher guy, is can we do it better? And never say, well, this is good enough. No, it's never good enough. There's always a better way. So that's my job. I call it a researcher. So I come up with different techniques. So when the 2011 rise came up, we came up and everybody left. I actually threw a bunch of my own money in with Ground Truth, and we designed a new exploration technique. It's called drones to drills, and it's basically 30 cents on a dollar compared to 2011 exploration techniques. So we came up with a bunch of different ones, and so now, once we fostered that and basically figured out how to work it and applied it in the Yukon, we got one of the companies rolling called White Gold Corp. But then what I decided to do is start researching outside of the Yukon, and we ended up in Newfoundland and Labrador because they had a good database. And then I started realizing that Labrador is completely virtually unexplored for gold. Everybody knows it for nickel, iron ore, uranium, but so there's only 10 gold occurrences in Labrador.
10?
10 known gold occurrences.
So when you say a gold occurrence, you're talking about finding gold at surface?
Yeah, in a rock, and that the government guys noted it. Like, there should be hundreds in Labrador if you do it this right. So I said, well, reminds me of the Klondike, the Timmins, like not the Timmins camp, the White Gold camp, the Dawson district, where when I first showed up there 25 years ago, there was hardly any hard rock showings in that area. Lots of placer, but no real hard rock. So since then, we found up to 7.5 million ounces, and it's building now. So I kind of said, well, once I started looking at the Labrador research, I said, this has got some legs here. So I just got to do some of my magic in there, go in and do my technical thing. So what I did is I found this company called Lab Gold. They were Nikos.
So you're a major shareholder of Lab Gold?
Yep, I think I'm about a 10% or somewhere.
10%, okay.
Yeah.
And okay, I think I looked it up, and I think there's about 50 million shares,
something like that. 55, yeah.
And it's trading at 20 cents.
21,
so it's
yeah.
it's capped about 10 million
Yeah,
bucks.
that's right.
Okay.
So now what I was able to do in the last 2 years with it, I optioned them. I kind of did the same thing like we did with White Gold. I put all 3 big projects, 7,000 claims under one company, knowing that statistically we're gonna flush this out. We're gonna drop some claims. And so since then we're down to probably 3,500 claims. So we've now high graded, and we have 2 nice projects out of the first original 3. And
these haven't been drilled yet?
No. So I call it, I've been blessed, or I've been lucky that I've been holding the market back from us drilling it. So now we've done over the last 2 field seasons about 28,000 soils on both projects. So now we've honed it down to some high grade soil targets. And what we're gonna do this summer is we're gonna actually go in and do some good geology and prospecting work, and then come up with some drill targets and try to drill at least 20 holes on one of the projects in September. So it's going to be just a small program, but it's because the delay time of getting assays back, soils and rocks.
So you're gonna drill one of the projects.
Yep.
And what's it gonna cost you to drill 20 holes on a?
What we're bringing in is our lightweight rotary air blast drills. So they're light, they're easy, they drill 100 meters in a 12-hour shift. So it's about $500,000 to drill 20 holes. And
you've got that money now, probably.
Yeah. We've got $800,000 or $900,000 in the bank, but we're doing another $1.5 million raise right now.
Okay.
So then we'll basically use some of those funds. But
how deep will you drill?
Because they're all surface gold showings, we have up to 8 grams in soils, 3 grams in soils. So we know the money's right there somewhere. So the idea is it's just like the Yukon. They're daylighting. I'm not looking for blind deposits.
Okay. You've got reason to believe that this is indicating, hey, there's something here.
No. So we use
This has never been drilled before.
No, nobody's ever looked at this since the 80s.
Is this an area that's easy to get to?
Listen to this. One of these is 15 miles from the railhead by Shefferville. That's one of them. And the other, so that's this Archean, basically.
I asked that to a guy once, and he said, yeah, it's easy to get to by helicopter.
Yeah.
I can get you right to the helicopter by car. Anyway.
But the second project, what you're asking is the key questions. The majors already confirmed with me, because I already shopped it to them. And they said, you just passed our test. The second big project I have is tied to Tidewater. And basically we get our fuel by off the ocean.
Right.
The guy drives it on his barge. So the point is, both of them, location is actually in good spots. So potential, both big, basically, one's a greenstone belt. I staked an entire greenstone belt, over 50 miles of it, basically 80 kilometers, that people found gold, but it was Falconbridge, and that's on the east coast by Hopedale in Labrador. And Falconbridge tripped over the gold looking for nickel because it was an ultramafic area.
Right.
And then the first guys to come and look for gold there, after Falconbridge, they did a kind of a joint venture. It was 96. Bre-X hit in 97, they never returned. The next crew to come in was 2003. Gold was $280.
They never, $300, yeah.
And they found more gold and never returned. So I've kind of walked in and said, look, this has got to get a good hit here.
Yeah.
And so we went in and did our big regional magic, cut across with these ridges and spurs, and doing soil techniques, and they lit up. And so now, like I say, we're doing the same approach as we did in the Yukon, and they're big targets, and they're basically. So that's what I need to find, is something in the 2 to 3 million ounce range.
So that's my next question. You're looking for at least a couple million ounces?
Yes, yeah.
That'll get a major interested.
That's right. So
especially if it's near surface, obviously.
Well, that's right. So it's potentially open pittable. So the idea is, that's kind of what my job is to do, is flush these targets out, get in there, get it all set up, start the drills, get it ready.
Yeah.
And then once we start making the kill shots and they hit, my job's done. Then I move off to the next ridge, and because I'm the recon team, that's what my job is.
So just to be clear, how many public companies are you involved with?
With 2 of them now.
And one's in the Yukon.
Yukon, that's White Gold Corp.
And so you've got a northwest.
Yeah.
And you've got the east.
That's right. And so I have there's lots of land in between, but we're not working with anything in between yet.
Right. Okay. So the drills will be turning. The drills will be turning in Newfoundland.
In the Labrador.
In Labrador, sorry.
Yeah. Probably by the 1st of September.
Okay.
Because we have until about the 2nd or 3rd week of October to work that ground.
Okay.
So we're gonna So that's what I've been trying to do, is hold the market off by going, let's jump in there and drill. No. Give me time to flush these targets out.
Yeah.
Because to me, finding a target is like playing a pool game. You know you want to drop that black ball, but you have to set up your shots ahead.
Yeah.
And if you don't set up your shots, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah, you know, like somebody once said, I was talking to a pretty experienced guy. He said, "Listen, this stuff's been there for a couple billion years. Why do we need to rush?" Like,
you can miss a hole by 5 meters.
Yeah, I know.
And literally miss it, and nobody will ever come back. So my job is to get our odds down to that we're not going to miss.
Look, we're going to leave it there.
Yep.
You know, thanks for the update. I was very involved with Ballinger back in the Yukon days. So
he's still got a good project there. So I think he's coming back this year. I think so.
Yeah, good.
They're talking about.
I haven't talked to him in a while. I should say hello. Okay, we're going to leave it there.
Yep.
Shawn, great for dropping by. Good luck.
Stay tuned, and there's a little bit of luck, but I call it science.